Ben Feingersh, she's on your left with elves. Tariq Patel on your right with Sultai Delver. A little bit of a bigger build. Both of them looking at 6 cards right now. And we are underway here in game number 1 of round number 9 at SCG Worcester. At SCG Tour, hashtag SCGWOR Underground C. The land here for Tariq Patel.
Patel with an intense list for him to Tariq.
He's not messing around, huh? Here's a Deathrite Shaman. Gonna need to flip that around, Tariq. There we go. It's like he can hear me. That's a slow start for Ben. There's a Dryad Arbor. See Tarmogoyf in hand there. Also a copy of Tombstalker. Remember, Tombstalker was a premier threat in Legacy for a little while, many moons ago. It felt pretty unfair to play a 5/5 flyer for 2 black mana. Oh, how times have changed. Here's Brainstorm.
These decks really put a premium on single-colored mana to cast their stuff, especially when Wasteland is such a defining feature of these games, too. It's not that Tombstalker is bad, it's just the second black mana. It's more than double the 1 black mana of Gurmag Angler.
Yes. That does make it problematic. I think Tombstalker was the first Delve threat, right?
Yeah, it was in Future Sight, and I think that was the set that debuted Delve on a handful of cards.
Yeah.
It's hard to know because it is hard to recall accurately the things that are going on in Future Sight.
I know, yeah, your favorite set. I know that there was Tombstalker and there was Death Rattle.
And Logic Knot.
Right,
Logic Knot was also in that set.
Okay.
I don't know if there was anything else.
I'm not sure if there was anything else either. Why do I remember Death Rattle over Logic Knot? I don't know.
You drafted a bunch of that set.
That's
probably.
true.
It's a vertical cycle, right? 1 common, 1 uncommon, 1 rare. Or was Logic Knot also common?
I think Death Rattle may have been uncommon.
I thought Death Rattle was the common.
Let's take a look at Death Rattle.
It's so see, it's confusing. You can't recall.
It is confusing. I know Death Rattle doesn't kill green creatures. You remember that?
Yeah.
Which
because it's supposed to be, you know, the color pie is different because it's the future or whatever. So that's a common. And then Logic Knot. We need to see the Future Sight Logic Knot.
We need to see that as Ben's going to figure out his turn.
I think it's uncommon.
I think he might be right. There's Nettle Sentinel.
No, also common.
Also common.
Is there an uncommon Delve? What? This set is such a mess. Is there an uncommon Delve card in Future Sight?
I don't think so. I don't know. Someone
so
on Twitter,
2 commons and a rare?
Someone on Twitter knows. There's probably one we're forgetting. Here's a Cradle.
Oh, my God.
Zenith for 1. I feel like there's at least one more Delve card. Heritage Druid. Tariq will draw. A Brainstorm in a moment. He's going to transform his Delver first.
And this is a good start for Patel, but if he doesn't find some interaction,
he could die.
Uncontested. If these decks are left to their own devices, Elves kills much faster.
Coming across the 3 in the air was the easy part. So that's done. Here's Brainstorm. Picked up a couple of cards. It looks like at least 1 copy of Abrupt Decay.
Yeah, I think it's important to get that Heritage Druid off the battlefield. Don't allow Feingersh to have a lot of mana on his own turn and try to slow down the Cradle a little bit.
All right, 2 cards have gone back from Brainstorm. And there's Trop. And Patel is going to play Abrupt Decay on Heritage Druid.
Yep. Maybe you would want to wait under normal circumstances to see if he deploys in the 3rd elf, but with Cradle, just cut off the mana now.
We're going to go back over to Ben now. Dryad Arbor, Nettle Sentinel, And the most important permanent of them all, Guy's Cradle. And let's see what Ben can do this turn. He does have a Glimpse in hand. He'll start by playing a Quirion Ranger. Three green. Glimpse. Down to 2. Let's go down to 1. Deathrite Shaman, draw a card. Found another Cradle. Keep in mind he hasn't played a land yet.
Yeah, that's the fix right there.
Symbiote, draw a card, no mana floating. Time for another Cradle. This one's going to tap for 5 green.
Yeah. Feingersh has a shot of going just all the way this turn.
He's down to 3 now. Now he'll draw a card from the Visionary, given that resolves. Wirewood Symbiote, I believe. Going to bring him down to 2. Another card coming. Another land. So now he's going to start using some of these elves. Use the first Wirewood Symbiote, return Elvish Visionary, untap there. Now, he's got no mana floating, but he's got 2 cards coming. One's a Symbiote. Other one is a Craterhoof Behemoth. Tap this for a green. Another Symbiote. Picked up an Elvish Visionary. What he's looking for right now that he's missing, in my opinion, is a copy of Heritage Druid.
Heritage Druid would allow him almost certainly to go all the way this turn. As things stand, he has a large battlefield and a Craterhoof Behemoth. So next turn, barring Force of Will from Patel, he's, that'll lock it up.
Yep.
He's drawn, I think, too many lands, and off of this glimpse, and not enough copies of Heritage Druid to go all the way.
Yep.
But next turn should be very good.
So he's used all of his Wirewood Symbiotes. Now he's going to attack here with a Nettle Sentinel, which Patel is going to predictably not block. And now he'll untap these. Excuse me. Reverse those in the Wirewood Symbiotes because he used them. Now he can use them again, of course, on his turn. And that's it. Nothing else. Nothing else. Just a Cradle that's going to tap for a whole bunch next turn.
Yeah. Not a big deal.
Insectile Aberration. Not going to go down without a fight. Going to come in for 3. Knock Feingersh down to 12. As fair as elves may seem sometimes, it's generally a pretty unfair deck.
Yeah, the fair stuff is sort of the backup plan. Sometimes you need to win with beatdowns. Sometimes you need to spend some turns recurring Elvish Visionary to accrue enough resources. But the deck left unchecked kills on turn 3 with some frequency.
Here's True Name Nemesis. Nettle Sentinel's not going to untap. Everything else will. Is it time for another Glimpse, perhaps? Well, just Craterhoof Behemoth. We're all done here. Ben Feingersh going to win game number 1 over Tariq Patel. Elves off the back of Glimpse of Nature into Craterhoof Behemoth. Wins game number 1 here over Salt Tide Delver. So working our way towards a 9-0 here in Worcester. We're going to find out who it's going to be. But first, a quick commercial break. We back. Cedric Phillips, Patrick Sullivan here in the booth. Nick Miller, of course, in the sideboard. They're presenting decks. We're going to be quick about this sideboard stuff here. 3 Surgical Extraction, 2 Bitter Blossom, 2 Spell Pierce, 2 Thoughtseize, Golgari Charm, Pithing Needle, Invasive Surgery, Liliana the Veil, Marsh Casualties, Sylvan Library for Patel.
I like the March Casualties and the Golgari Charm. And past that, very little. The sweepers are good, though.
4 Cabal Therapy, 3 Abrupt Decay, 2 Blood Moon, 2 Surgical Extraction, a Nissel Vital Force of Caracas, Scavenging Ooze, Thoughtseize. These Blood Moons kind of out of nowhere. Really good against this deck, though.
Yeah, give me the Blood Moons and the Abrupt Decays. Normally, I don't like Abrupt Decay very much in this matchup, but if you can lock someone out with Blood Moon, I think killing their Stray Flyer becomes a lot more attractive.
Looks like we might have a little bit of mulligan action here real quick between Feingersh and Patel. You know what that means, Patrick?
Let's talk about
We get to sell something.
a promotion.
Yes. You sound hyped.
Information for the consumer.
There you go. Weekly sales happening at Star City Games. You can save 10% on select Eternal Signals, which is kind of nice because we're covering an Eternal tournament.
Yeah. Go to starcitygames.com/weekly sale. Every week there's a new sale that goes live Monday, 11 o'clock Eastern Time, so check back once a week at least to see what the sale is. Right now, until Monday, 10% off select Eternal Singles.
I don't want to say we drew it up this way, but we did not draw it up this way.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Get ready, get ready. It's the hot machete. Here we go. Patel with just a Underground C. For Ben, Taiga into Green Sun Zenith. Dried Arbor on the way. And perhaps a Blood Moon will be coming to play soon. You don't see the red splash in Elves very often. Of course, you see the deck be green-black a lot because of Deathrite Shaman. Rorik Thar appearing to become a little bit more common now.
0 copies in Feingersh's list, so he's splashing basically off of Birchlore Rangers +1 Taiga.
And Deathrite Shaman.
And Deathrite Shaman.
Yeah. Does it all, of course. We'll go over to Ben now. Picked up a Wooded Foothills, it appears. Elves Visionary, great test spell. Something that people don't want to counter, and it's something that Elves definitely wants in the battlefield. Really nice card for this deck. Ross Merriam's favorite creature, I think. There's Horizon Canopy. This is a Wirewood Symbiote. Those two are a combo together. It makes me wonder what Patel's got going on in his hand. Could be a Marsh Casualties hand. You see at least 1 copy of Force of Will. He'll sacrifice that Misty Rainforest.
Great matchup here for Patel's sweepers. Marsh Casualties and the Golgari Charm. Those are the prizes post-board.
Golgari Charm gets you. Now, it's not going to kill the Elvish Visionary, of course. Wirewood Symbiote's going to return that. But G-Charm looks pretty good in that spot.
Yeah, not the end of the world for Feingersh. He's able to pick up his Visionary and, you know, he'll be able to draw another card for his trouble. But
here we go.
Ooh.
Well,
whoa.
Yeah, probably discard those 2 in a minute. Creative Behemoth Elvish Visionary. Let's roll some dice, shall we? 3. 5 and 6 are probably re-rolls. 3. And Creative Behemoth and Green Sun Zenith go to the graveyard.
Yeah. Feingersh probably pretty stoked that he gets his Elvish Visionary here, as he's going to need just raw material to work with, just extra cards.
Needs to do a little bit of rebuilding. So there is Elvish Visionary. He'll take 1 from the Horizon Canopy to cast it. That will resolve for Ben. He'll sacrifice this Wooded Foothills. Get himself a Bayou. Now it's interesting. Do you want to bring in Blood Moon against the Abrupt Decay deck?
Yes.
But yes, I agree with you. You do. Polluted Delta appears to be the draw. Again, a couple copies of Force of Will here for Tariq Patel. He's going to sacrifice that Polluted Delta. Give himself a tropical island. And the big follow-up is True Name Nemesis. We'll move that creature to the front, those lands to the back. It's almost like he's in my head. And now Feingersh will start his turn by sacrificing a Horizon Canopy for a new card. And the big follow-up is a Quirion Ranger. Deathrite Shaman will remove a land, untap it, return that land, play another Deathrite Shaman, replay that Bayou, pass the turn back.
And this True Name Nemesis, without being backed up by something like Umezawa Jute, is just a clock. Really isn't that disruptive, even though, you know, it prevents attacking in the short term. In the long term, if Feingersh gets to set up shop, he's going to Crater Hoof Behemoth for so much that True Name's not going to be an effective blocker.
This is Pithing Needle, and I think it's got a good target here in Deathrite Shaman. Bang, and activate Deathrite Shaman in response. You can tell Feingersh has played this deck a lot. Pretty smooth mechanically with what he wants to do. Needle going to name Deathrite Shaman predictably. Got that confirmed from our table spotter as we head back over to Ben now. The hoof is in hand.
But Feingersh now really shrunk on mana without access to the Deathrite Shamans.
Well, knuckleheads. Gonna play a Verdant Catacombs, pass the turn back. There's Bayou, pass that turn back now. Feingersh will sacrifice a fetch. Dryad Arbor going to be moved up, and it looks like True Nemesis is going to hold back on defense. Doesn't want to get clocked out of the game.
Yeah, Dryad Arbor is another threat in the event that Feingersh wants to continue to go to wide, and it's extra mana should he draw Gaia's Cradle.
Well, it didn't draw Gaia's Cradle. Drew Green Sun Zenith instead. To go along with Natural Order and Crater Hoof Behemoth. There's 3 mana. Quirion Ranger. Untap there. Pick up Bayou, replay. I'm going to play Zenith, it looks like. Could just go for Natural Order. I just wouldn't feel safe doing it right now. Patel's got so many cards in hand, it isn't doing anything.
Yeah, I'm fine with the Natural Order if you have enough mana to pay for a theoretical Daze. I think tapping out for it's bad. If it gets Force of Willed and you get a blue card for your trouble, that's something. Also with Patel at 4 mana, there is somewhat of an incentive to do it this turn because you don't want him to get to 5 mana and be able to hard cast his Force of Will. At least squeeze out another blue card for your trouble.
Well, here's Zenith. It looks like it's going to be for 1. And this does allow Feingersh to play around Spell Pierce and Daze, everything else. So Zenith is going to resolve. We might be going to Heritage Druid. Okay, I thought he might be going towards Wirewood Symbiont. He's going to go towards Heritage Druid for more mana. Maybe to help set up old Crater Hoof.
Well, now he has access to both Natural Order and Crater Hoof Behemoth.
Yep.
He's unlocked both the cards in his hand because he has enough mana to work with.
Here is Natural Order. Going to sacrifice a pretty useless Deathrite Shaman at this point because of the Needle, and hope for the best. With 1 mana available. Actually, let's make it 2. Be able to pay for Spell Pierce or Daze, so he's done some nice sequencing here. Here's Force of Will. Going to remove a Force of Will. So Natural Order will be countered. Patel's hand right now is Fatal Push, Force of Will. That's it.
Yeah.
He's added a Delver of Secrets to it. So another blue card to go around the Force of Will, which is pretty important. But he's actually going to play that Delver.
He's got to get something going here. I mean, he can't hold this game off forever on the back of that Force of Will.
Two mana. Going to activate Quarian Ranger. Untap Dryad Arbor, pick up the land. There's a land again. This is an attempt at Craterhoof Behemoth. And it's very good if it resolves. It's not lethal, simply because Fatal Push can take care of the Deathrite Shaman that can attack.
Yep, it's a lot of damage,
but
though.
Still a lot of damage, yes.
I mean, the Craterhoof Behemoth itself is worth 11 points. 10 if you kill something with the trigger on the stack.
Yeah, what she's got to do. What's kind of funny about this, too, is that that's the worst thing to push.
Yeah.
Because all the other things actually have relevant text, but, you know, it's the one he has to push so he doesn't die. So here's Craterhoof Behemoth with the trigger. Going to get bigger. Block there, soak up 1 point of damage from Trample, but Ben's navigated a pretty nice game here.
Yeah, he's set up to go wide next turn. Just finish off the game that way.
Gonna check with Delver's secrets here. Will Patel, if he's not revealing, it must not be particularly good. See what this is. Deathrite, perhaps. Yep.
Now keep in mind that that Deathrite is under Needle from earlier.
Feingersh will draw. I think he may have Abrupt Decay in hand. Just trying to see if he can win the game right now. We'll take a look at Craterhoof Behemoth really quickly. Just want to make sure that big beast doesn't always have trample. I think it only has trample when the ability happens, which it does. There's Decay on Deathrite. Let's go. Get in the red zone. Let's go.
Yep. So you get True Name Nemesis in front of the Craterhoof, and you put the Delver trades off with something. Patel falls to 1, and then your board is still intact the next turn.
Well, Marsh Casualties, where you at, babe? He's got one.
And then he needs help.
Well, Marsh Casualties kills everything, and then it's True Name versus Craterhoof. But yes, he needs help.
Yeah,
I agree.
And if Feingersh has a second Arbor to go fetch, then even that's not good enough.
Indeed. Patel will draw and pass the turn back. Feingersh going to sacrifice his Wooded Foothills, go get himself a basic forest, thin it out a little bit, take a draw step here, and he could be attacking for the win. And the 9-0, top of the standings here in just a moment. As Ben has demonstrated some real skill with Elves here. The second time we've watched him, and it's very clear he knows how this deck works. Here's Elves Visionary pre-combat. Draw a card. Attack with everybody, and that is going to do it. Ben Feingersh going to win this game and match here over Tariq Patel. 2-0. Elves takes care of Sultai Delver, and for the lean green killing machine, 9-0.